Step one, you say we need to
I grew up in a Roman Catholic household. We always supported, cared for, and loved each other. For the majority of my childhood, I grew up in a smaller town in Minnesota. My siblings and I are very spread out in age, so while I have some memories with my older siblings, I do not have many from when I was younger. My older sister struggled greatly with the death of my father while growing up. Since I was not even one when he passed away, I do not remember much, but my sister was almost 7. After my father passed away, my older sister began acting out greatly and ran away from home a lot. My mother got remarried, and this became worse. It became so much of a burden on my family that my sister ended up living in foster homes. This was really hard for me growing up because I constantly remember weekends in which my mom would have to go visit my sister due to her acting out. I felt as though she was stealing mom away from me, and I thought it was very unfair. I was a well-behaved child that rarely did anything wrong, and my sister was always getting into trouble, but yet, I felt as if mom spent more time with her than me. This tainted our relationship for a long time, but after she had her first child, she began to change, and our relationship began to mend. This experience, though, is another whole story in itself. My mother worked when I was younger, but shortly after she remarried, she became a stay-at-home mom. This shadows what happened in her family when she was younger, with her dad working and her mother staying at home. I am very grateful that my mother stayed at home while my younger sister Josie and I were growing up. Being a stay-at-home mom is a privilege and something I plan on doing once my husband and I have kids as well. Growing up, my family would have been considered very traditional. My father went to work during the day and provided for his family, while my mother stayed at home and did all the household work and took care of Josie and I. When Josie and I were both in school all day long, my mom volunteered a lot of her time within our classrooms. She was always coming on our field trips and would attend any of the day programs that we were in. I specifically remember that every time we would drive somewhere with parent volunteers during the school day, everyone would always want to ride with my mom. She would have freshly baked snacks in the car for us to eat while we would be listening to the greatest music. My mother would drive us both to school and then picked us up when we were finished at the end of the day. She would then take us to whatever activity we had that night, such as dance, basketball, or volleyball. As Josie and I got older, we had household chores we completed every week for an allowance. We completed tasks throughout our childhood, such as keeping our rooms clean, vacuuming, dusting, and washing the floors. My older siblings claimed that my parents got soft when it came to us, due to the fact that we didn't have very many rules. In my teenage years, my parents always trusted me and told me they would until I gave them a reason not to. Due to this, I never had a curfew, and the only rule that I truly remember having was when I was driving. Every time I got into the car to go somewhere, with myself driving or one of my friends, I had to tell my mom or dad once I reached my destination. Thinking back on this now, this was definitely to lessen the stress of my parents and not really a very strict rule. My older siblings claim that I am the favorite child, but I just think I was the first child in my family to stay out of trouble. I really cared about my academics, and I was an athlete, so that took up a lot of my time in high school. My parents said that as long as I kept participating in sports and kept up my GPA above a 3.5, I did not need to get a job. I succeeded in this and did not get my first job until the summer after my senior year of high school. It was an internship within the hospital working with insurance claims. For never working before, it was a pretty great job due to the fact that almost everyone else in the department had college degrees. Throughout my whole childhood, and still to this day, my family has caring, supportive relationships for each other. We are not perfect by any means and get into disagreements, but this is something we do not let defy us. As Burr states, in order for the relationship to flourish and thrive, there must be a desire to maintain the relationship. This is something I see within each and every one of my family members. As long as the desire to stay close does not wither, the relationship will succeed.